Trust the process. Trust the process. Third time's a charm. Now I know lots of you have been waiting for an update on this car. I am sorry it's taken me so long to come and film this video, but finally we're going to be talking about my plans for my dad's Land Rover 90. I filmed a video with this car at the start of last year. If you haven't seen that, it might be worth pausing this video and quickly going to watch it so that you understand why this car is so special to me and my family. It's been in the family for like 20 years. We've all used it at various stages of our lives, but it was always truly Dad's car. He wasn't a car guy or a petrol head, but for some reason he just had a love affair with this little Land Rover, and he was the one that looked after it, maintained it, in parts restored it, and then also cosmetically upgraded it, but that's maybe a point we'll come back to later. To be fair, he did a fairly great job because this thing has never let us down. As I say, we've all used it for different reasons and we've never been stranded on the side of the road. The only thing is, it's always been super difficult to start. You probably heard me at the beginning saying, trust the process, because occasionally he would say that to me. I'd be stuck at a petrol station or outside a bakery because, well, I was a little bit of a podgier teenager. And I couldn't start the thing, and I'd call him up and I'd say, what do I do? And he'd say, trust the process. Not because I think he sort of mechanically understood the process, but because of his love for this car, he had the patience to just realise that if you just kept going, eventually it would start. And it always did. It might take you 10 minutes, but eventually it would fire into life. But sadly, in the last 18 months or so, maintenance and care for this vehicle, well, it's slipped. And it's been sitting on my mum's driveway, just starting to look a little bit sad and tired. The cobwebs have grown, the rust patches have increased, and yeah, it's not really as turnkey as it once was. And that makes me feel sad because I kind of feel like I'm letting my dad down. But also, like, I love these cars, and in the last few weeks, I'm like super back into Land Rovers. I find myself just noticing them on the road all the time, but I owe it to my mum. You know, she needs to be able to use this car, and I'm the car guy in the family. I should really take charge and make sure that it is in as good shape as possible. Of course, I owe it to my dad, but I actually owe it to this car as well. It sounds a bit weird, but it's quite a sort of niche Land Rover, this thing. It's not necessarily, you know, a super rare special variant, but it is a quite unique variant. I don't fully understand the history of Land Rovers, but you might have heard me call this thing a Land Rover 90 at the start. It's because it's not actually a Defender. I mean, I know it looks like a Defender, but it's not. That was news to me because we, as a family, have always called it the Defender. I'll come and get you in the Defender. Oh, hey, I'm in the Defender. It's not a Defender. As far as I understand it, at the beginning, Land Rover made the series models, Series 1, 2, and 3. You might refer to them as classic Land Rovers. And then the Defender started its life in 1990. There was this weird 5-year patch from the mid-80s to the 90s where they essentially made the Defender but called it the 90 and the 110, depending on what size vehicle you had. So this is one of the last 90s. It was made at the end of 1989, and with the very strange 2.5 litre petrol engine. I don't think many people chose, because most people went diesel. So this is a bit of a weird variant, and supposedly it's only got 33,000 miles on the clock. My mum says she does remember that the odometer broke at one stage. We don't know for how long, but I guess this thing only does a few hundred miles a year, so it's not impossible to think that it's in fairly young shape. But I just want to understand it all. So I'm driving an hour south from my mum's to a Land Rover specialist who do tend to resto mod these things, but they do also restore them, to kind of understand mechanically where we're at. Is there some significant work that needs to be done, or is it just regular maintenance that's required? And once we've figured that out, what can I do to kind of maybe improve or upgrade the car? I do maybe want to dial back some of my dad's cosmetic changes. We always used to laugh and joke about some of his horrific decisions. I mean, these seat covers which came off Amazon or somewhere weird, I mean, no one really understands why he went for those. But also the colour-wise, like, I just think I maybe want to go slightly further back towards factory spec. We used to have a white roof, we used to have steelies, all those things were quite nice. The bull bar on the front with the spotlights you never figured out how to plug in, just some stuff that I might want to change. We will see. But my plan is to, yes, mechanically get this car really sound, maybe then aesthetically or cosmetically make it a little bit more mine, and then just try to use it a bit more, because sitting here now, Dad feels close, I feel happy, we've got a beautiful sunny day, I'm out here in the countryside, I love driving these things, and I say this thing's never let us down, it's been a trooper, and that's when I want to use it more. So that is the plan, and today is a day of discovery, so off we go into Somerset to find out what we're doing next with this Land Rover 90. Well, welcome to Arkonik. These guys are, Somerset based. They actually reached out to me after I put that video out last year saying that I was thinking about doing some kind of restoration to this car, and I'm now finally here to assess what the next steps could be. What I like about these guys is everything they do feels kind of OEM plus. It is a sort of sweet shop of Defender-based projects around the corner, and we're going to have a look at them in a second. Some of them include LS-based V8s, and that's all a bit mad. But yeah, everything just looks like it could have left the factory at some point, and I really like that, because when you start getting into restorations, you can go insane, you can go wild. But if you know me, and if you watched that video from a year ago, you know that I want to be honest and pure with this project. I want to keep it true to my dad's vision, my dad's plan, but also to a Land Rover 90. So I'm excited by what these guys could offer. But firstly and foremostly, they're being very kind and just offering me that mechanical inspection. So I'm going to get this thing on the ramps, let them have a look over it, and whilst that's happening, let's go and look at some of the really juicy projects they've got around the corner. Now, a lot of what these guys do actually ends up being shipped around the world, and specifically to America. So some of these cars, or most of these cars, are actually set up for export. This one doesn't have an engine in it, hence why it's so high. Some of them don't have interiors, but this is sort of one of their flagship finished vehicles, I suppose, at least a marketing vehicle. So it's interesting for me to look at, start noticing some of the sort of cosmetic or aesthetic changes. Until we find out what the mechanical report is, I can start to pick up on some of these things and see if it might be stuff I want to add. Even just these metal guards, for example, on top. I feel like my dad had these at one point. I like to climb on the Land Rover, so that might be good. They've still got this huge bull bar, but they've got a different style of fog light. But come and check out the interior, because this is where these guys really go to town. I'm going to try not to scratch anything. Firstly, these seats, which are just delightful. Entirely new dials here, but then look at this infotainment system. I mean, what is that doing in a Land Rover? Yeah, all completely different and unique in here. Sunroof and all these elements, but I also like the back. They've got the proper drop-down rear seats. At the moment, we've got these kind of dodgy benches in the 90 that don't really do much and aren't that effective, so I think I want to look at those. But so much which you can do to just improve the interior usability. So I think lots of the stuff I kind of want to take note of. But yeah, this thing's a bit of a beast. If I turned up with, well, changing the 90 and something like this, I think my mum would kill me, but it's still super cool. Did you do all the dials and everything?
Yeah, so that's a Dakota digital dash. Yep.
That's and that big screen, everything, you can put those in any of the cars?
Yep,
that's mad.
absolutely.
The interior is completely different.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the reason we put that dash in is because this has got the...
Oh, yes, okay. Huge hunking great V8.
6.2 litre V8.
Wow.
With 430 brake horsepower. So yeah,
wow.
This is the popular.
Yeah, that's okay. This is the popular one. Yeah, quite a step up from the 2.5 litre that I've got in the current car.
Certainly is.
Wow,
yeah,
it looks kind of the part, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? I mean, it's not. It fits in the engine bay pretty well. And obviously, we do a lot of work to make sure it sort of looks like it's like say OEM plus.
Can you start it up?
Yeah.
I kind of want to hear it.
Absolutely.
What a thing. It almost doesn't seem right, but then it's also super cool. And obviously V8s and Defenders or Land Rovers, it is a thing. Okay, not always LS engines, but even in my era of 90s and 110s, they were putting V8 in these cars. So, oh, is that? I mean, maybe that's going too far. This is all getting a bit. I feel like we're suddenly spending a lot of money here. I'm now getting way too. I was like, maybe I do put an LS engine in my car.
Well, it depends, Sam. It can be done. Look at it that way.
Okay, let's go and find out what Craig discovered, because before I start spending this kind of money, got to work out how much rust I need to repair first.
Okay. Do it.
And he has the list. It doesn't
I didn't
look
create
that
this, I
long.
have
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't look that long. But come on, talk to me. What are we looking at?
Well, yeah, Craig, our production manager, has gone through it, and actually was really complimentary. To be fair, so yeah, there's no horror stories here.
Okay,
I think it's more like how far you want to go with stuff. So, yep, front wheel bearings. That's a kind of standard MOT sort of replacement. The rear cross member. So he said, there's some corrosion on there. So again, could replace that, or if you were going to go further, we could replace the whole chassis. Obviously, that then becomes a bigger job.
Yeah.
But it will give you that solid foundation for many, many years to come. And if you were doing more mods, then yeah, there's a potential avenue to look at.
Okay.
Rear diff leaking. I mean, yeah, again, it's pretty
normal maintenance.
There's no dramas there. Front brake brake lines are corroded. Again, we see that a lot. It's a UK truck. Winters are pretty cruel on any car, you know that. So yeah, that's standard. Front chassis rail, again, I think there's some corrosion on there. So again, it would lead again to maybe a bit more chassis work.
Yeah.
Are you then at that point thinking, well, maybe I do replace the chassis? So options, and the front outriggers again. So these are all chassis parts which we can replace. But I think when you're doing that amount of work...
Well, that's like 3 of them that we're already replacing.
3 or 4, so you're probably into replacing the chassis.
Okay.
But as you know, it's kind of like, these are built in such a way that, yes, it sounds like a big job, but, everything is bolt on, so,
How far do you go? Okay.
Exactly.
Fair. Interesting.
It's what you do. And then, steering box is leaking as well.
Yeah, I'd noticed that because things suddenly got very heavy.
So, it's the standard stuff. Bit of corrosion, bit of leaking, nothing.
Actually not catastrophic.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But there is an element which does hint towards possibly chassis.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that then opens up the can of worms to...
How far do you go with it?
But I guess if I didn't, I could just focus on, we could do those bits and then focus on the fun cosmetic or aesthetics things, like tidy this up, change some of the paints and things.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's what we should...
Your bumpers, accessories, lights, you put LED lights in there as well, so you can get better performance. So there is a performance game to that. Spotlights, I mean, those look like they've probably been on there maybe since...
No, they were never plugged in. Dad bought them from Japan and didn't know how to switch them on. So they just, it was a look thing. But
we could get you some that are functioning at least.
Okay, yes, that would help. Okay, well, should we go look at some paints and parts?
Definitely.
As the final thing for me to spend my theoretical money on. And
let's do that.
Go from there. Okay, let's do it.
Sounds good. All right.
So what's that for?
So that's for the top of the cubby box. So you can have like a combination lock, just for a bit of security.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to keep into that cubby box between the 2 front seats.
The problem is I love all these colours. Look at that. That's super nice. What's that there?
Yeah, I think is that Arliss blue? Yeah, Arliss blue. So that's one of many.
You're professional, aren't you? So tell me the name.
Yeah, I won't get them all, but yeah, Arliss blue, Keswick green. Those are traditional colours. They're quite often paired with the white roof, so the chalk and white roof.
Yeah, that's what
and the white wheels as well.
I think the white roof and the white wheels is definitely the route that I would go, and probably with like a kind of classic-y colour. But it's the problem. I just went through this recently. I've just repainted my Ferrari. And, there's too many choices. Like you just
there are.
Quite nice.
There are. I think that's the beauty of it as well, though, isn't it? It's kind of that's what makes it individual.
Of course.
If there's a particular connection, maybe like yourself and your father's, and you can kind of match that. Or this is what we did with Yuja when we did a recreation of that. We matched the Stratus blue, but we put like a pearlescent fleck in it as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you're keeping that colour, but you're kind of like making it more of a sort of contemporary.
Love the wooden steering wheel. That's nice as well.
Yeah, that is definitely a popular wheel.
Yeah, that's super nice.
And obviously, yeah, you can have the original ones as well, the boomerang,
Sure.
The four-spoken as well. So,
And you've got some leathers and things outside as well.
yeah, plenty of hides.
Plenty of things to.
Those are definitely interior. I think is as much as the paint. There's as many choices for interior.
Well, I like what you were saying about the Mexican.
Yeah. Exactly, it works well because
Yeah.
you could choose. Maybe for the side bolsters, you could have like a brown leather, but then the inset panel, yeah, you could have a bit like Porsche do in vintage Porsches, right? With the sort of different patterns and so on.
Oh, I'm spending money far too quickly. I need to get out of
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
So like that's what you had on the chassis, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was inspired. We did it on Yujo recreation, and the client saw that and liked it, so he did his own sort of spin on it as well, and that's all hand painted as well.
You're a good salesman, aren't you? I'm getting out of here quickly. It's a 348 Spider. Did anyone see that? It's genuinely a Ferrari on the side of the road. What a lovely part of the world Somerset is. What lovely people they were at Arkonik. Just so nice. I mean, they are operating at a level that I can't really engage with. I mean, those cars are incredible, but they're like multiple hundreds of thousands. It's not what I'm looking. I don't want to do a nut and bolt restoration with this thing. And as tempting as it is to chuck an LSV8 in here, it's not the route that I'm going to be going. So they were so generous to give the car a once over and kind of let me know where I'm at and to help me talk through some of my options. For example, with the chassis, like I could go full bore and replace it, but then that's quite a big project. Or I could just repair some of it, which I think is maybe the way to go. I love their creativity in terms of interior components and upgrades. They kept talking about this Mexican rug, Mexican carpet kind of interior. This rug right here, my dad used to use for his Labradors. So bougie, my dad's Labradors. But maybe there's a way to create something in the back for them made out of this, or a seat pattern. I don't know, like I would love now to get hands-on with the cosmetic changes. Maybe also hands-on with the mechanical stuff. Maybe that's what I need to do, find like just a sort of local garage or someone who's willing to sort of have me involved and just do some of the sort of more basic work, because these cars aren't that complicated to work on. And it feels like once I kind of do some of the corrosion stuff, the rest of it is just regular maintenance. So Dad did do a great job of keeping this thing ticking along. And that's so reassuring and kind of heartwarming in many ways. So yeah, basically I just need to use it more. Address some of these issues that if I don't address might become catastrophic but aren't yet. And then probably just make it a little bit more mine so that I don't feel like I'm driving around in his car, but our car, if that makes sense. So I feel like this is the start of a really fun project, maybe a slightly different project to the ones that I've done on this channel before, and hopefully the start of more Land Rover content and Land Rover based adventures. So stay tuned. As I said at the beginning, I know lots of you have been waiting for updates, and maybe this feels like only a sort of small step in the right direction, but it was an important step. I needed to do this to know how to plan for the future. Sorry, Susie sat-nav is yelling at me from down there. I did love that upgraded infotainment system in that BOA 110. That was very impressive. Suspension's like my Project A. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video anyway. And let me know in the comments below. Are you ready? Are you excited? Shall I get on with this? No time like the present to get hands-on and create my ultimate version of this Land Rover 90. Give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Stay subscribed. Plenty more videos to come.